Cole issues us under the air with the term, the musical term, unforgettable. And that's just what this program is.
Oh, really?
Yes. I've just decided that as we came on the air. That's why we get paid the big bucks up here.
Yeah, right.
We do have, listen, seriously, our subject matter today is not to be forgotten.
Oh, no.
It may not be unforgettable in that actual sense of the definition of the word, but by golly, the efforts these young ladies put forth, they're not to be forgotten. They're to be taken very seriously. I'm going to let you introduce the girls, if you can remember their names.
I get no respect. Have you noticed that?
We're very happy to have it. Well, I try to start Viewpoint with a kudo or two. And it seems appropriate, Mrs. Busby, that we make two kudos. And I'll put the first one out on the line in honor of these two ladies. And the second one is a young lady who lives in Atlanta, Miss Mama Shemp, daughter of Darren and Cindy Shemp. She has received a $2,000 scholarship from the Farm Credit Services. So good for Molly. Congratulations to her. She also happens to be our reigning Miss Logan County Fair Queen.
Well, she got the whole package, brains
good for her.
and beauty. Good for
very
her.
Happy for her. And I know a parent or two that might be really tickled to death. That might go a little ways for money in the school. Which reminds me, girls, my father and I had the shortest father and son conversation on record when I was at the University of Illinois. It was a dark, dreary Sunday afternoon. I'm going to paint the picture here. And I decided to call my weekly call to my parents. And in the conversation, I said, this is verbatim. In the conversation, I said, Dad, I'm out of money. And he said, well, that's funny, so am I. And that was the end of the conversation. I thought to myself, that's the shortest father-son conversation I ever had.
That went over like a lead balloon, didn't it?
Well, it sure wasn't very receptive to on his part. His theory was, correctly, I had a roof over my head, I was eating, and my tuition was paid. He didn't think he had to go much further than that, and he sure as heck didn't.
Well,
okay, let's get serious. Now, we have a couple of young ladies here who have defined retirement in a different way.
yes.
They could have retired, rested on their laurels and their small pension. I emphasize that. But here's two young ladies who labored in our classroom for the requisite number of years to retire, and they decided, we can do more, and they have. So Moms Who Care, why don't you introduce these young ladies, and then we'll talk about Moms Who Care.
Yes, we have Marla Williams and Cindy Aussieker with us. And they were both teachers in District 27, as Bill says, for the requisite number of years. And so you had a lot of chances to interact with a lot of kids over the years. And I'm sure that you noticed a difference in kids. And part of that difference, I should think, would come from how much the moms care. So you started this Moms Who Care
Let's define that, Judy.
endeavor. Yeah. We're going to have to start at the very beginning. Yes. How did you get this idea? And tell us how it formed up and became Moms Who Care.
Well, speak to the character of the ladies first and foremost. I want to tell you that.
You got a what?
It speaks to their character. And not that they are characters. Well, they are that, too, given that. But seriously, I'm very impressed by this effort. Now, this is your second year, I believe, ladies?
Yes.
And by the way, they're going to appear at Rotary. It'll be standing room only, folks, at noon today at the college where Rotary meets. I just thought this was an unusual way to continue to serve, and they sure do that.
Yes.
So let's define Moms Who Care first and foremost. Which one of you ladies would like to go first? All right, Cindy.
Well, she drives and she
does. She's my driver.
She's just a
Jack of all trades.
man of all seasons there, yeah.
First of all, thank you for having us here today. Moms Who Care, we didn't actually start Moms Who Care. We started it in Lincoln. But Moms Who Care was started in East Peoria, Illinois.
I never knew that. Yeah.
By a lady that started off by doing hygiene bags. So she did like 10 hygiene bags for girls and then 10 hygiene bags for boys, and took them into the school nurse and said, pass these out to the kids who need them.
She saw this need, and this is of her own volition.
Yes.
Her own action.
This was about 10 years ago.
Really?
And she said, when you pass all these out, call me and I'll bring more. And they called her and she brought more, and then they called her again and she brought more. So finally,
bless her heart.
Yes, definitely. The school district then asked her if she would just like to have a room at the school where she could provide items for students. So that's kind of how Moms Who Care actually got started. And at this point, I think there are probably about 12 schools, something like that. Most of them in the Peoria area. East Peoria, I need to say, because Peoria is really not a part of it. And then Lincoln, and then we helped start one in Missouri.
Well,
for a girl who wanted
That's
to get
out of
started.
town. How'd you pick Missouri?
Well, she picked us. She found Moms Who Care. She's a nurse at a school, and she found Moms Who Care on Pinterest, of all places. And she got hold of our president, because we're a non-for-profit organization, so we have a president, vice president, secretary, treasurer. And she got hold of our president and said she was very interested in this and wanted to do something. And she's from a small community. So they got hold of us because we have done so well in Lincoln, and said, why don't you come and talk with her too, because you can give her ideas of what you guys did. So so that's how it got started.
Well, essentially, we're finding personal needs, if that's the correct word.
Yes.
For students who are coming up short in things such as in that category.
Well, we say essential
you're filling
needs.
that need for these youngsters.
Yes.
Essential needs that they would need to get through school to improve their self-esteem.
See, we just don't think about that. The kids, little beggars, are going to school. They're okay. If you just stop to think about it, and you don't have to be a PhD to think about this. Watch kids go to school, and you can see that in certain kids, certain families, there's real need.
Well, even just notebooks and pencils and note cards, those are things that kids need, and you may not even think about that. But to get through a school day, they need those things.
Well, all of those commodities have to be bought and paid for.
Right.
Yes.
And how does that work?
For us,
For us, yeah.
most of everything that we have is donated. We have all of our things are donated. They either donate the supplies or they donate money, and then we go and buy the stuff.
So it wouldn't be inappropriate for me to mention that you could use a little money. And if somebody wanted to write you a check for $50 or even $5, we'll take $5, folks.
Yes.
Exactly.
To whom do they address this envelope?
Moms Who Care.
Moms Who Care.
We have a bank account at State Bank, and so you can just go in there and
Very simple.
Yes, do it that way.
While you're in there banking, folks, write another check for Moms Who Care and just leave it. And these girls, Marla and Cindy, would love you forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Give us an idea of, these are in a bag, is that right?
No, the way we have it set up, we have it set up like a store.
Like a little store.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have, when we first started out at the high school, we had a closet. Actually, it was smaller than this room that we're in right now. So it was a closet, and we had a table and a shelving unit. That was basically it. We couldn't store very many things there because we didn't have the room for it. So my son's bedroom at our house became our storage area. They eventually moved us into a classroom, but we still share that classroom with
Old TVs.
Yes.
Old TV
storage.
Yes.
Oh, you're
So we
in
don't
a
have the whole,
storeroom.
yeah.
It is actually a classroom.
Right.
But it is a storeroom.
So we have tables set up, and we have our items out. We have a table that has deodorant, toothpaste, toothbrushes, body sprays, lotions. We have another table that has hair products, shower gel, soap. We have another table that has makeup for the girls and school supplies. We have a couple of racks that have clothing for railer gear. We have shelves that have socks, those kind of things. The kids come in, we give them a little basket, and they go around and pick the things that they need, and then they come over to us. We keep track of the things that they take. It's kind of an inventory thing for us. And then we pack it into a nice little bag. And we don't want to use the plastic bags, so we try to get people to either give us gift bags or bags like from Victoria's Secrets or Bath and Body or Von Maur, stores like that, so that when they leave the room with their bag, it's not a stigma that they've got and you really can't see in the bag then either, so you don't really know what kind of things
they're getting.
These
are all new products, so they're not the used products, half a thing of shower gel. These are brand new products and the full size bottles of shampoo and shower gel, and in some cases it's the first time that they've had their own products at their house to use.
Well, think of the self-esteem that these youngsters walk out of that room with.
Oh, and we've seen a change.
Something that they realize that it's just a stretch too far at home.
Right.
And they're smart enough to know that. So think of what that does for their good old self-esteem.
Oh, I know. We had a young man, because we had a haircut program in the community where if you went into your beauty shop or barber shop, you could buy a haircut, and then they would make out a coupon and they'd give it to us, and then we would pass it out to the kids. And we had this one young man who came in with his big frilly hair, bushy, and he took a haircut. And, week after week he'd come in, he still hadn't had his hair cut. And finally one day he came in and he had his hair all cut and everything. And he said, I had a job interview. And he goes, I got the job. So he was so excited. And then about 2 weeks later he came in, he said, well, this is my last time of coming in here. And we're like, why is that? And he said, I have a job now. I have my own money. I can buy this stuff for myself.
Think how good he felt.
And how good we felt.
It was like our little baby bird, though. We didn't want him to leave the nest. But that's what we had to do. We had to let him go.
He knew that. He knew that he was on his own, and he could do it now.
That young man sounds like he's going to be a success.
He was a wonderful kid.
Yes, and he was just one of many.
Would it add to your caseload, your workload at all, if I could get 3 or 4 guys or 5 guys to donate a haircut as often as you say so?
Oh, yes.
Well, that would be wonderful.
Great.
Well, why don't we start something like that today at Rotary? See if I can extract a little money out of somebody's pocket and give a young man a haircut on a regular basis.
Oh, good.
And the girls, too.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely.
Well, that's my chauvinism. I didn't think about girls. I didn't think about the personal appearance thing. We're talking about the necessities to go to work or go to school. Well,
but personal appearance is a big darn deal, because you feel better, you behave better. There are all kinds of benefits.
Well, I've noticed that Marla's conduct has gotten a lot better since she started wearing that Moms Who Care shirt.
Yeah, I was pretty bad before.
By the way, I want to say to you, again, thank you. I've been asked to go to before she retired, Marla's classes to talk about World War II experiences. And I always appreciated that. And
the kids loved it. It was just, it's not a book. It's a real person talking about real things in life, and he was just like their grandpa up there talking to them, and it was wonderful. I love those stories.
Bill isn't short of words.
Well, sometimes we had to cut him off after an hour or so.
Imagine that.
I watch this clock here. By the way, speaking of the clock running, we do have a thing called sponsors, and we're going to take a few seconds right now and honor them. And go ahead. The cat's not there. Good. Jim can actually get to the keyboard with the cat out of the office. We're right back live in the studios here at Viewpoint, 815 to 0900 at WLCN. Our guests this morning are Marla Williams and Cindy Aussieker, 2 ladies whom I respect very much.
Yes.
They have grabbed a torch and run with it. They saw a need for the kids that they were mentoring to in school, and they grabbed me with a project called, and I thought really that they born the product.
Yeah.
But they've copped the crate now and said they stole it. So good for them. Moms Who Care. Go ahead, Judith Kay.
Well, I just think that this is so interesting, and I'd like to know about how many kids come, how many sites do you go to? They're all schools, I assume.
Yes.
Because it's for kids in school.
Right. When we started, we just started at Lincoln High School. It's easier to work with the high school kids sometimes. I know some people don't believe that, but in this situation, it's a little easier to work with high school kids because they kind of know what they need and that kind of thing.
Well, the younger they get, the more apt you have to peel them off the wall before you can talk to them.
Well, we're used to those, though, because that's what we were in elementary school. Yeah. So, but yes, we go to the Lincoln High School, and we go one day a week. We go on Thursday mornings from 8 to 11. Last year, kids could come every week if they wanted to, and we were getting some really high numbers. And then it's like, you don't need a shampoo 2 times a month, and so we changed this year, and we have the freshmen and juniors together, and so they come one week, and then the next week the sophomores and seniors come.
I see.
And then we switch that off, so they come twice a month is basically how it works out to. Probably at the high school, I would say we see about 50 kids.
Do you?
We have usually about 20, 25 one week, and then, and so it's different kids than the next week, so we have another 20, 25. So around 50 kids, I would say, on a regular basis. And then this year, we decided to go to Lincoln Junior High. So we go to Lincoln Junior High in the afternoon on Thursday, and we see 6th grade one week, 7th grade one week, 8th grade one week.
Okay. And you have the same items because
basically
they're standards.
Yeah, we don't have makeup at the junior high because they don't need makeup. We don't have body sprays.
Yeah. Junior high kids don't need body spray, and their teachers would not want the body spray.
No.
Oh, well, that's
Although
point.
I had an 8th grade teacher should had a lot of it every day. I remember that vividly.
And we don't do a lot of our food items at the junior high. It's at the end of the day with them. Where at the high school, sometimes the food that they're taking is food that they may take for lunch.
Yes.
We had one boy who didn't have money on his lunch card, and we found out about it, so we ended up paying for a month for him to get him back on his feet and stuff. And then we also that was the first year, and then we did it again this year also for him. But that's...
So he was eating peanut butter.
Yes.
For lunch, that's all that he could have.
He's a tall, gosh, he's 6 foot tall.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big boy.
And then on Thursdays, he would eat our snacks in there for lunch, but the rest of the week, it was the peanut butter sandwich for lunch.
Yeah.
So...
Your girl's sitting at a booth having a cup of coffee somewhere, and it talked about the genesis of here in Lincoln, Illinois. How'd that start with Marla?
It's almost that way. That's
just about what I wanted.
We were sitting, talking.
Well, we first got involved with it because we had a friend that lived here in Lincoln that moved to East Peoria and got involved with it.
That was your awareness of it.
Yes, and every time we were together, she would talk about this and talk about how much it meant to her, and she wasn't a teacher.
Oh.
So one day we're like, we got to go over and see what this is all about, and we went over and fell in love with it.
Oh my gosh!
So we went to lunch.
Yeah, we did.
And discussed it, and what do we want to do, and how should we do this, and we went out to the high school and talked to the administration, and we had to go to a school board meeting and present to them. And then the summer came.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we knew we were going to start in the fall, but we just didn't get a lot done. My mother had passed away over the summer, and it just seemed like things got pushed back. And one day it was like, school's going to start, and we really haven't done much. So we went to see our mayor. He's very much on social media, and so we went to see him, and we did go to have coffee, and before we...
And you know where his office is.
Who did you
Seth.
say?
We went
Seth,
to go talk to
Seth Goodman.
as the mayor. Then we went to the guest house, so there's not a lot of distance between there.
No.
Sat in the booth, and we're having our coffee and discussing what we had talked to Seth about. And our phone started blowing up. He had already posted it, and people were wanting
really?
to donate.
Where can we give money? Where can we take items? What kind of items do you need? And we were like, oh, we don't know yet.
We didn't have a bank account yet.
No, we didn't have anything.
So we left there and had to go to State Bank, and we opened up a bank account from
Well, that was kind of a lucky break for you because
Yes, it was.
because now you've got to get on it.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sometimes we need a little incentive.
We did.
I'd like
Yes.
to sidetrack, Judith K., if I may. Marla, I want to be very careful here. On behalf of the community, I want to extend our condolences on the loss of your mother. I know how important that is to all of us.
Thank you.
You mentioned it, Cindy. This is in the formative stages, and you went through that experience. So, on behalf of our listeners, we'd like to extend our sincere condolences to you, young lady.
Thank you.
Your initial trip over to Peoria.
East Peoria.
East Peoria.
Boy,
They like to make sure you
Yes.
bigger
specify
school
that.
districts over there. Things are done a little differently
Yes.
in these bigger school districts.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've had the cooperation of the board and the district as you administer this really needy program. It may not seem like much of a deal, but just stop and reflect on that and compare to some kids who don't have and some who do have a little. And it makes... I can tell you this very day, I have a friend, I think still a friend, but he's always carried it in his mind that I was luckier than he was during our grade school days. And it came up in conversation not too long ago, by the way, over coffee. So, see, that how deep set that can be.
Yes.
And it's carried over these 70 years now, for goodness sakes.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Now, I'd like to know what you have by way of school supplies. I suppose some pencils, pens, portfolios.
We do. They love mechanical pencils, and so they.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and so 2 is their
Well,
limit.
all those kids are techies, you know.
Yeah. So they have to have their mechanical pencils, notebooks, their folders, note cards for projects. We have colored pencils if they need them, rulers. Every once in a while we have a calculator. Calculators go fast.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something that we always are in need of. Highlighters,
Glue sticks.
Oh, erasers. Those
Erasers. Oh, my
big
goodness.
pink erasers. They like those. So I think that's pretty much for our school supplies. Now, if there's a certain project, if they would come in and tell us, I really need this, then we can go out and go buy whatever they would need for a school project.
I think we had highlighters when I was a kid going to the Lincoln Public Library. I just used a pencil and a ruler and underscored things.
Yeah.
We didn't have such thing as sophisticated thing as highlighters.
Oh, and such
Or
pretty colors. They have
calculators
pink and
for that
green and
matter.
all kinds of colors,
yes.
too.
So, what are your caseload, so to speak, on an average month? You alluded to the fact how you switch between high school and elementary grades, and would you have 10 in elementary versus no?
No, we have about 20 at the elementary too, and it helps the secretaries. The 2 secretaries there help tremendously. They're the ones that see the families that come in. They're the ones that really kind of know these kids a little bit better. When you think about it, the junior high and the high school, teachers only see a student for one class period.
Yes.
So they don't sometimes really get to know who the kids are. But the secretaries know. They know the families. So they knew the ones that needed it, and they started they have little passes. So they call the kids down, and they have to go to the office, get their pass, and then they come in to see us. And it's usually around 20 students that we see there.
They send 4 down at a time, and then we just, techie-wise, we send a text to the office and say, okay, we need more students, and then they call 4 more down, and
Oh, so they come 4 at a time instead
At the junior high.
40
junior
at a
high.
time.
Yeah. No,
At the
4
high
is
school,
good.
you just never know when they're going to.
Girls,
Now, they don't have to have signed up and be on your list or anything.
No.
If a kid just heard about it today, they could come.
Right. They have to get a pass from their teacher, or they can get a pass from the guidance office or from the nurse so that they can get out of class to come to us. And a lot of the teachers just let them come in. I mean, they let them come.
Sure. Is there any correlation at all, ladies, in improvement in academics over individuals that you're aware of?
I don't think we've done
it's
it.
almost certain that there is some.
Yeah, I don't think we've done it long enough yet to realize, but that is something that we're hoping that's going to help with the graduation rate. We're hoping that will help kids stay in school. They don't feel different than the other kids, so they don't mind, going into class, and they have the materials to make a project, or they, those kind of things. So we're hoping our graduation rate improves. But, we've only done this 2 years, and I don't think we've really seen that at this point.
But there's a limit to your growth, is it not so? Because of money. I mean, you can only do so much with X number of dollars.
Right.
So inherently there, you have a limit to how much you can grow, as opposed to possibly growing a whole lot if you had a heck of a lot more resources.
We are very fortunate.
Yes.
We really are.
This
community is wonderful. I mean,
if we go shopping and spend $302 to shop for shower gel and shampoo and school supplies, and so we get all of those, in the next day we may get $300 in the mail. It's just like it's wonderful.
It's a miracle.
It is. This community is right there for us. Whatever we need.
And the publicity we've had here recently, it just seems like we really have been getting.
Yes.
Well, you have to take an interest in the young people. In just a few years, they're going to be running this zoo.
Right.
Well, this community loves their kids, and
they do.
They take care of them.
Anything that has to do with the kids.
Yes.
We've talked about that at our house because my kids were little when we moved here. And it was a great place to raise a family.
Yes.
And some kids are luckier than others.
Right.
Well, that's just
And this is going to make a difference in the lives of a lot of kids.
That's what we hope.
Well, and with all the businesses and stuff that are closing, we have more families who are in need.
Yeah,
So we have a lot of parents who don't have jobs right now. And we got interviewed by one of the high school AV department, and that was one of her questions, is if kids are coming in here that maybe don't need it. And I said, well, how do we know that, though? We don't know that because you don't know the situation at home. You don't know if dad just lost his job. You don't know if somebody's in the hospital and,
Can't work.
Yeah, can't work and stuff. So we don't know everybody's situation out there. And
Well, you can't tell them that they have to bring in their parents' W-2 or
right.
something.
No, I know.
We don't even know last names of kids. They tell
We
us their
don't.
first name so we can keep
Good.
track of just
Anonymity then.
keep track of, but it's just by first names. We don't
By
have
the way,
last
just as
names.
an aside comment, if you don't think there's some real need in this community, just drive by the food pantry on days that it's functioning. That'll open your eyes.
It will.
yes, it will.
Thank goodness we had that facility. And by the way, we ought to bring somebody in. We miss Billy Overton, so we'll have to get somebody. Make a note of that, will you, Miss Brewer?
I'm his secretary. That's why they let me come in.
And coffee wench. Looking down the road, can you use another body to help administer this over and above money? That's always the case. So, by the way, folks, if you're in the state bank, or make a trip into the state bank, it's not a big effort, and write a check to Moms Who Care and leave it with them. They'd love to, and you can make it a big one if you want to. It's okay. Marla won't care. So, can you use more help physically?
We could definitely.
Yes. It's just the two of us right now.
Just this year, we have had to cancel 3 different times because her father-in-law passed away, my mother-in-law passed away, and now her mother, and all of their funerals have been on Thursday. So it's like we cancel because we don't have anybody to do it. But we're kind of stingy because we enjoy doing this so much that
it will be hard to.
It's going to be hard to give somebody give up and let someone else do it. So,
well, I presume. I almost think of necessity, it should be a fellow teacher. Because,
that's what we've said.
Yeah, for somebody to come off the street and help you, that would not work very well, I don't imagine.
Well, they'd have to do a background check for the high school. And
there's my problem.
And teachers, like we didn't have to do a background check because we were a teacher of District 27. So I think any teacher that came in, they would be, they wouldn't make them go through a background check. But anybody else, yes, we would have to do that.
But they'd have to be a retired teacher to help you because they have to have the time to be there.
And I'll tell you, a lot of them, they're busy. I mean, it's surprising, People say, oh, now we're going to help you. And then when it comes down to it, it's like, no. So
I thought I had the time, but I don't.
Yes.
So thankfully, my husband has stepped in a couple of different times. And the kids come in, they're like, Moms who care. He goes, well, dads care too. So
it's such a great idea. I'm glad that those people up in East Peoria started it. How many school districts do you figure it's
I think it's about 12. I think about 12 different ones.
In central Illinois?
Well, including the one in Missouri, too.
Yes, thanks to you.
Yes.
Well, that is a seed now in Missouri. Maybe others will see it and say, by golly, we ought to do that, too.
Right.
Well, I had a phone call from a minister's wife from Sullivan, Illinois. We were on TV, WAND, Cindy and I, on a Friday evening, last Friday evening maybe. And on a Saturday morning, this lady called me, and she had Googled my name, and we still have a landline. So she called me. She wants to start something similar to Moms Who Care in Sullivan. And so she asked all these questions about it. And
well, bless her heart.
Yes. So.
Was she a teacher?
She's a minister's wife, and she saw a need with the church and the kids, and so she wanted to start something.
I just as well tell you this on the air right now. You get more from WAND TV for appearing than you do with Bill and Judy on.
Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
Well, we could meet at Old Joe's. Retired teachers convention center.
Yes.
Do you have an immediate project other than they always have your mind on getting as much as you can to administer your program? Do you have a fundraiser project of any kind in mind?
Not right now. We just did tennis shoes. Actually, it ended up being shoes. Some kids wanted boots and stuff, so we just did that here recently. And
now, what did you do to do that?
As the kids came in to our room, I just asked them, do you guys need a new pair of shoes? And if they wanted a pair, they told us the size. Many of them said no, they didn't feel like they needed any shoes, and that was fine. And then we just went out to Shoe Sensation and bought the shoes, took them back to the school. And when they came back in, they tried their shoes on. We had one young lady who put her shoes on, and they were pretty. They were kind of a peach color.
They were beautiful.
And she just sat there looking at them, and I said, do you like them? And she said, yes. And she said, I don't think I've ever owned a brand new pair of shoes. And it was yes, and it was just like, just made your heart melt,
Yes.
There again, such a little thing. But to that youngster, how important that was.
Right.
One girl told us, well, now my mom can have her shoes back. I have my own pair of shoes. I mean, it was just one thing. Cindy looked at somebody's shoes, and they had duct tape on them, and so we had the money at the time, so we said, let's ask and see if they need shoes. And
see, it's kind of amazing, and they aren't doing it to impress you or depress you or anything else. It's just a matter of fact that Mom can have her shoes back now.
Right.
And this child had never had a new pair.
Right. Right.
See, we don't think far enough, do we?
Well, we take a lot for
large.
granted. I mean, we want a new pair of shoes, we go out and buy a new pair of shoes. You know, we don't think anything of it. Where some of these families, they can't do that. It's hand-me-downs.
Oh, yeah.
And we do work with Pink Shutter.
Oh, yes, we do.
Shutter. We have Pink Shutter coupons, and the kids can go there and get a complete outfit for free.
Once a month.
Once a month.
Jennifer's easy to work with.
Jennifer's really good. Yeah.
I volunteer at the Pink Shutter once in a while, and they're awfully good to,
not so.
Like DCFS, for instance.
She volunteers a lot, girl.
They help people. They're in the community and for the community.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's a good place. I'm glad to hear that.
How do you look down the road 2 years from now?
Well, I hope there's more than just Cindy and I. I hope we have some more volunteers.
That's a fair statement.
It's going to be hard.
It will be.
Yeah.
But even if we have to do it 3 times a month instead of 4, that would be okay. If there's we have some backup. That's just that.
Well, I'd like to see more kids graduate. I mean, we've already had a couple of kids that have started the year with us that have already dropped out of school, and that's very.
That was sad for us.
It was very sad because we thought we were making a difference with somebody, and then, you know, we're not there that much. So it's not.
Well, you have and are making a difference every day in the lives of these youngsters that you help. May not be immediate today, but certainly a month, 2, 3, 6 months down the road, maybe a year or 2 years down the road, you're going to have had a very definitive impact on a youngster or 2 or 4.
I know that we have in the past because we have some of our ex-students that are at the high school that just come in to say hi. You know, they don't need anything, but they know we're there, and they come in and give us a hug and say hi. And so
bless their heart.
They love Thursdays. They come in, and it's wonderful to see these former students. And
Well, I bet this program has grown though as one of the kids who do come to the Moms Who Care Day tell their friend.
Yes.
And then the friend thinks, oh, by golly, that's a good deal.
The very first day that we were out there, and we're there, we got all of our stuff out, and we're all excited, and nobody's coming, and nobody's coming. And then
we're there for 3 hours, and we're like,
we finally got one student to come.
Oh,
and,
gosh.
You know, we were texting back and forth with the East Peoria group, and they're like, just remember, if you make a difference in one person's life, then it's worth your time there. Okay. Then the next week, it was like, okay, that person told a couple of friends.
I think we had 5.
Yeah. And so it grew. and they were. I mean, we had a little girl, not little, she's pretty tall, the other day, and her friend literally dragged her in. And she goes, I don't really know why I'm here. And we're like, well, do you need this and this? Well, yeah, I could use something, you know. So, and then now she's come back on her own one
by
time.
herself.
So, but we do have some kids that they think a lot of us.
Yes.
And they do come and they bring their friends back, and it makes you feel good.
Well, that's because they're grateful.
Yes.
Grandpa Wilbur would be proud of this project.
Yes, he would. He would. He knew about it. So
Wilbur Williams was one of our great
yes, he did.
administrators we
Before
had
he
here.
passed away.
That was one of the real plus factors for me serving on the school board is understanding the importance of the teacher-child relationship and hopefully seeing a better teacher-parent relationship, getting parents involved. For instance, and here's a great opportunity for some parents who are in better circumstances than others to step to the plate and swing a bat. So
the problem, sometimes is, and we found that out being teachers with parent-teacher conferences, a lot of those parents were the ones who had problems when they were in school. So they don't look at the schools as a good place sometimes. And so we have generations here, so we have to do some changing of thoughts on.
That makes perfect sense, what you say.
That's why she's a teacher.
No wonder those kids could learn, huh? But it is so true. I'm sure we can all think back to somebody in our class who torqued the teacher. And they probably even today don't look fondly at school.
Probably not.
I wonder how many of us who are my age can remember 8 teachers that they had in the 12 years, 4 of elementary and 8 of elementary and 4 in secondary. I can recall some very, very impressive teachers.
Oh my, yes.
One of them was going to impress me one time with his knuckles, I think. Our guest this morning, Marla Williams, under duress today, and Cindy Aussieker, wife of the pill roller, Brad Aussieker. And he's very proud of the work these girls do. I know that. And Mrs. Williams and I kind of go back a long time because I worked with her father-in-law over a period of years in District 27. So we always try to close with a comment or two. This one's a little facetious, and I think we could finish with a lighter note. Someone once said there are 2 good reasons to be a teacher: July and August. In fact, there are 3 good reasons to be a teacher. The third reason is retirement. So a salute to 2 ladies who kept working even after they officially retired from the classroom. Cindy Aussieker and Marla Williams, thank you very much, ladies. Moms who care. State Bank, they'd be happy to have some money.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.